Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we'll take a look at the main astrological energies of 2022 and how we will be moving through this new voyage through the calendar year. More specifically, we'll be taking a look at the beginning of the Pluto return energies that start in February 2022 and last into October 2023. We'll be talking about the once-in-a-lifetime conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune and Pisces, and then also briefly touching on the upcoming square between Saturn and Uranus in October 2022 that happens at 18 degrees, and it's not an exact square, but it does have the energy of revisiting 2021 themes. So some interesting energies as always, and we'll be talking about all three of them. Now keep in mind, these are the broad strokes. This is the bigger picture. And hopefully it brings you an understanding of what you may personally be moving through as well. I do go into more of the astrology of the year in my 2022 Soul Growth Astrology program. That's where we talk about the retrogrades, what the personal planets are doing, the eclipses, the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. So that's where you can get more of an in-depth understanding of what's happening for you this year and how it's showing up in your chart. In today's show, we're only going to discuss these other energies from the bigger sense of what we're going to collectively be moving through. So we'll begin with the Pluto return energies that really come in strong in February and last until October 2023. So it's a good year and a half of these Pluto return energies, and I'll talk about what that means. So the Pluto return is referencing where transiting Pluto in Capricorn is returning to its placement in the USA's country chart. Every country has an astrological chart associated with its quote-unquote birth. Similar to your birth chart, any event can have a birth chart. Anything of significance, anything that is essentially started begins with a certain energy. And so in the USA, we reference the astrological energies associated with the July 4th, 1776 Declaration of Independence energies. And this is even a topic that is disputed and has ongoing conversation among astrologers. And of course, you also want to take into consideration that it's tricky to really pinpoint one exact starting point because of the fact that it's an ongoing evolution. It's an ongoing story for every country. It's an ongoing story even when a business gets started. That business would also have a natal chart, but it could be tricky to pinpoint, well, what is the starting date of our business? Because it can take various events in order to form a business. So understand that we're working with the main astrological energies that are connected to a significant point in time, and that's what we're referencing and looking at, although we know there's always an ongoing story and an ongoing evolution. So we're referencing the July 4th, 1776 signing of the Declaration of Independence, where many of those who signed the Declaration of Independence were also astrologers, also tracked what was happening astrologically, and were very aware of what they were initiating when they were initiating it. In fact, it's very fascinating to look at the Declaration of Independence, which begins with "We the People," and that correlates to the moon in Aquarius at 27 degrees. If they had waited another day or even a number of hours to create the Declaration of Independence, it would have had the moon in Pisces. So there was a lot of intention. That's something that has been argued as well around when the Declaration of Independence was signed. And this is the energy we're referencing as we talk about the Pluto return. So clearly that was signed in 1776. And here we have nearly 250 years later, Pluto returning to that same point of 27 degrees 32 minutes of Capricorn. Pluto will hit that degree and minute mark in February 2022. And when any planet returns, which is a return to its natal placement in the chart, that return is associated with both a completion of a cycle associated with endings, as well as understanding that a new beginning will be initiated as well. So what we're going to be experiencing is this overlap of energies as the Pluto return will highlight what is being completed and what is being initiated. Now, keep in mind, we're going to talk about what these Pluto energy means because it means many things. And Pluto is a very significant energy in astrology because it is associated with evolution, transformation, very deep growth, areas that are permanently closed out and ending. This is where there are permanent changes and a sense of no going back. Pluto also brings up death, destruction, what is intense or emotional to move through, and reveals what is no longer an energetic fit. Pluto supports our ongoing evolution of consciousness and soul growth. It supports and understands that endings are important, but they're also messy. They can be complicated. There can be a lot that goes into them, and we're also checking in on these themes for ourselves at both an individual and collective level. So yes, this is a focus on the USA's chart, and that's because of the significance of this energy, and then also how all countries are related at this time through various channels and means. You can associate with the financial markets, with trade, import, export, multinational corporations and companies. You can look at how there is this interwoven quality between countries all over the globe. And so this focus on the USA does have a ripple effect and does affect the world at large. So even if you are not an American, there are energies here that you may still experience or feel, but it of course will be more significant for Americans and for what the country is about. Now, because Pluto is about transformation, this really brings up how the United States as a country is permanently changing. But it's important to note that this is an ongoing story. There is no clear beginning point because of how evolution is always in play and always unfolding. So when we are discussing this theme, especially as the energies pick up in February 2022, we also want to reference astrologically how previous planets were just here at this 27-degree point, including Saturn in Capricorn that went back and forth over this degree point throughout 2020. So not only do we have this Pluto energy coming up, but in 2020, Saturn was here and really bringing our attention to some reality checks. And Saturn will test, Saturn will provide challenges, Saturn will show us what works and what doesn't work. Jupiter was also here at 27 degrees of Capricorn in 2020 as well. But Jupiter provides protection. Jupiter brings in more energies that are higher vibe, so to speak, that amplify what is going on. But Jupiter can make things easier, can bring in more resources, more solutions, more potentials, more possibilities. Now we know that both Saturn and Jupiter have moved on, but it's important to note that the themes of 2020 are still important because here comes Pluto revealing what's been hidden. And that is one of the tasks of Pluto, is that it shows us the secrets. It shows us the truth. It says, put it all on the table. Nothing is going to be covered up. Nothing is going to be hidden anymore. This is when the truth comes out, and Pluto can be brutal. Pluto doesn't have concern for necessarily how it feels or how you interpret it. Pluto is about we're digging in and we're getting into what is really going on energetically. And that is how Pluto reveals what has been hidden, what's been kept in the shadows, maybe what's been buried, such as where the skeletons have been buried, so to speak, where things have been kept out of the light. One of the areas of Pluto's driving intentions is to show us everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So it's very big revelation energy. It really is going to bring forth more about the truth of what we need to know energetically. Now, I want to specify that because truth has different meaning to different people. And Pluto isn't concerned about human interpretations. Pluto is about the energetic consciousness of what is happening or what's been happening. So this energy reveals, and it really opens up all the skeletons in the closet, what's been hidden, what's been undercover, what hasn't been known. And when you apply this to a country, it gets to the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's been happening or what is in the energetic foundation of a country or a place. So this has a lot of intensity to it, and it's meant to reveal what we need to see and know. And there's also an energy here of awakening to a truth, awakening to what's been hidden, opening up all the closets, all the hidden passageways, secret doors. It's that kind of energy. And that can also be wildly uncomfortable for anyone, but also for bringing out perhaps what needs to come to the light of day. And so you can look at this through various lenses because it does relate to the structure of a country, and that correlates to the Capricorn themes of establishment, how things have been set up, the systems in place, how there are rules and regulations in place to maintain an order, to manage a system, to manage a country. And Capricorn relates to the management of something that requires structure for a purpose. And then it also relates, of course, to business, government, politics, leaders, authority figures, CEOs, those in positions of power who are part of the management of that system. Now, in its higher expression, Capricorn has a lot of integrity. It's very aware of what it's planning and organizing, what is being carried out, what is unfolding, how it's operating from a place of responsibility, and that there is a sense of respect for those who are involved in the management of that system. So Capricorn can have very strong, clear leadership. It can be an energy of being that authority figure who takes their responsibilities seriously, but can also understand the effects it's having on people. What's working? What's not working? Where is this effective? You can apply this to a business and different departments within a business where you have sales department, financial department, marketing, human resources, right? All the different places in the business, including IT and security and so on, and how there can be the managers of each of those departments, and they gather together and they have meetings to report on what is happening in their department, right? The results, what's coming up, what's working, what's not working, what needs to change. All of this is part of the Capricorn infrastructure. And this is what is being permanently changed and what is being often demolished down to the foundation so that anything that is no longer of use, that is not effective, that is not serving its purpose, that is not working, is permanently changed and then rebuilt. Now, this energy is very serious in the world of astrology, and there's multiple ways it can show up and play out in the real world. And it is a very real world energy because it's Capricorn. And we've been moving through these Capricorn themes, especially since 2020, when we had Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all together in Capricorn. And so now what's coming up with this Pluto return is that there is that energy of demolition. And that's just the case for all Pluto energies. That's just what Pluto does, is it takes something down, takes it apart, removes it so that something else can show up in its place. And because these transits last often for a year and a half, if not more, it's an ongoing process of demolition, of removal, of permanent changes, of endings. And so then we can apply this to these Capricorn areas that I just mentioned. And it can be a really good time to keep asking questions around these themes, such as, what is changing permanently in business, in government, in politics, in leadership roles. You can be aware of these energies and be very inquisitive and curious and be very aware of what is permanently changing, especially as we move through the majority of 2022 into 2023. Now, keep in mind, we haven't lived through these energies before. These are new energies. And you could say, oh my gosh, it feels like we've already been living through them. And we have, because of when Saturn and Pluto were conjunct in Capricorn, but Pluto hasn't reached this degree point before. So there have been separate events that have highlighted these themes, but Pluto getting to this 27 degree point is new, and it brings up themes that maybe we have overlooked. It brings up themes around the foundation of the United States, how the country was born and initiated. And when you look back during that signing of the July 4th, 1776 Declaration of Independence, clearly that was the Declaration of Independence breaking free from Great Britain and the British Empire, becoming its own independent country. So we can look at some of those themes and really consider, how does this apply to our experiences today in our modern world? Where are we looking for independence? Where are there the energies of revolution, which are actually associated with Aquarius energies as well as Uranus? So where is there a need for something revolutionary, something different, a very significant change? And because of the significance of Pluto, it is a very big deal. And it's also an ongoing experience, meaning if we look back in history at the American Revolutionary War, well, that unfolded over multiple years. And that's the case here with these energies, where it unfolds over multiple years. It's an ongoing experience. There's a very deep, significant shift happening that we're all feeling and sensing, and Pluto brings it up to the surface. Pluto reveals that truth or anything that needs to be known. Pluto also brings up some very big questions for us to consider and work with consciously. We're meant to really look at, what does it mean to be in our power? What does it mean to live from a place of truth? What does it mean to truly honor how you are evolving and growing? And that is basically the themes that are coming up here that we're going to be working through as we move through this Pluto return energies. It's probably going to be very uncomfortable at times. There's going to be a lot of unknowns. There's going to be things that maybe are dead. And that's part of Pluto's job, is to basically kill off what is no longer true, what is no longer working, what is no longer a representation of humanity's evolution. It can bring up a lot of uncertainty and discomfort. And you'll know this personally if you have had any type of Pluto transit in your natal chart to any of your personal planets especially, because the personal planets are your sense of self, and that Pluto energy permanently changes you in some way. Pluto wants you to get to the next level. It wants you to level up. It wants you to do something differently, to have a new experience in new energies. Pluto is actually a powerful ally when we know how to work with it, when we know how to trust the very messy, complicated transformation process. So yes, it's going to be messy and complicated, and chances are there are things that won't be clear. Now, when I look at how this energy is moving through, something that really stands out to me is when Saturn in Aquarius gets to 27 degrees of Aquarius in February 2023. Because in a country's chart, that moon represents the people. So there's something that really lands and is significant in February 2023 when Saturn in Aquarius makes an exact conjunction to the USA's moon in Aquarius. It's like something really settles in. It essentially arrives, and there is something significant because of how what we're moving through is about change. It's about something permanently ending. And that's a very big deal when you look at it from this high level perspective, but then it really connects with the people and becomes more serious when Saturn is conjunct the moon. So I feel like what we're moving through here that starts in 2022 is that what we have accepted or even expected around these Capricorn energies are going to be clearing out. They're going to be ending. There's going to be significant changes. And again, this is something different that we haven't experienced yet, and it's going to take at least a year and a half. And with Pluto, there can also be the triggering of a lot of fear. There can be a sense of worst case scenarios, or even bringing out more of the ugly side of human nature. That's part of how Pluto operates as it reveals energies. So understand that these are very big themes, and we're going to see them, we're going to feel them, but remember, we're made for this. We can handle this. And in fact, what we're also going to be moving through is then the birthing of something new, but that won't happen until after Pluto moves away from this degree point. And it probably won't happen for a few years. So we're moving through some very big energies, and we're moving through a very big transition period, unlike anything we've lived through. And you could even go back and reference some of the themes that were happening around the American Revolutionary War. It would be a wonderful reference, if you will, because of the themes of what was happening. What are the themes of independence and sovereignty? What are the themes of establishing a system that works very well now? What do we need in terms of the management of a country or the leadership in the country or at a world level? This can certainly affect local politics, state politics, regional politics, also various business interests. So these are, again, themes we've already been moving through, but this is new energy we haven't experienced yet. It's taking it to the next level. It's more intense. It's more foundational. And again, it's the demolition that needs to occur before something new can be solidly established and built next. Now, we do have this support from Neptune and Pisces that has been giving us ways to trust a process. Pisces is the energy of rising above, how we basically tap into other realms and other energies for support. It's associated with our spiritual growth and development. And Pisces is also about how we're able to move through change with ease, how we can trust what we're experiencing and what we're feeling in a healthy way. Now, the unhealthy expressions of Pisces leads to escapism, addictions, depression. It can lead to feeling very lost, alone, and really highlight the victim energies. So what we're working with here with these Neptune and Pisces energies, they're giving us opportunities to really trust more of what we don't know, what we can't see, as well as to continually focus on our spiritual path, our spiritual growth, and what that means to us now, especially as the world continues to change in very big, dramatic ways. When Jupiter makes a conjunction to Neptune and Pisces in April 2022, they meet up at 23 and 24 degrees of Pisces. And again, this is a once-in-a-lifetime conjunction, simply based on how each planet is transiting through the cosmos. And Jupiter amplifies the energies. Jupiter brings in more. Jupiter makes it bigger and exaggerates even. Jupiter can also be that protector. It can bring in the benefits. It can bring in the good things. Jupiter is associated with how we make things easier. And in Pisces, we can tap into more of a flow of the energy and trusting in really big ways. So while Jupiter can bring in a lot, it can also make some things easier, open up new opportunities. Now, when I saw this conjunction, one of my first thoughts was about water because of how Pisces rules the oceans and how this means there can be a lot more water movement on the planet as Jupiter and Neptune are conjunct in Pisces. There can be a lot more flows of water. There can be a lot more precipitation or snow melting, rivers overflowing. This is going to be a strong theme in April, where there's going to be a lot more water movement on the planet on a grand scale. We'll also have Venus and Mars in Pisces as well. and that will bring in more energetic significance to these Pisces energies. Now, whenever we have a strong focus on one particular astrological sign, we want to look at how that energy can be balanced and supported. And in this case, it's through the earth signs, and specifically through Virgo, because that Virgo energy is the opposite of Pisces, and Virgo is going to help us understand what we can do at a practical level. Virgo is designed to support, to work hard, to be of service. Virgo is wonderful at the management and efficiency of details and particulars. Virgo is a keen problem solver, has a very strong analytical mind, and this is where we're going to need to balance the energies so that all this Pisces focus doesn't just take us out of our bodies or float us away. Now, on that note, Pisces and Virgo are associated with health. That is something they have in common in their astrological axis. Is Virgo is the physical body and how we care for it on a daily basis. The foods you eat, drinking enough water, exercising, it's your lifestyle. Virgo highlights your lifestyle and how healthy it may be. Now, all the energies in Pisces highlight what we can't see, and it's associated with how we share and spread energies, including, of course, germs, viruses, things in the air, bacteria, all of that connects to Pisces. So we're going to have a strong focus on our health. You're probably not surprised. You're probably already aware of that. The energies continue. April is going to be a very big month to stay focused on your immune system health, to be aware of your body, to take care of yourself, to be aware of how you're interacting with people, how you're sharing energies. And that's just something practical to be aware of and to ensure you're maintaining the appropriate boundaries. Now, I'm saying boundaries because Pisces often doesn't have boundaries. When there's a lot of Pisces energies, it is something that is floating around. It's hard to grasp, hard to manage. Pisces wants to be free. Pisces wants to float on the ocean. Pisces wants to drift into the other realms. So this can open us up to more of our artistic energy, our creative side, our imagination. There's energies here where you could be receiving some really big downloads with these strong Pisces energies in April. Big downloads around what you're meant to do next, or some intuitive hits, or openings into your psychic energies, openings into any of the clairs, the clairaudience, claircognizance, etc. An opening of the third eye, an opening of the crown chakra. These would all be the beautiful ways to work with this strong Pisces energy. But remember, we have to balance it, and there will also be a need to focus on the Virgo energies as well to ensure we don't drift away or try to escape from reality, and we're able to manage what we need to take care of. Now, the other earth signs will also be important, and in April, we will have an eclipse in Taurus, and we will still have this strong energy in Capricorn. So we have grounding support for these Pisces influences in April, and there could be something that connects for you about this earth-water dance, where there are parts of ourselves that are going to feel that very strong Pisces influence, but it will be essential to integrate it into our earthly experiences, into how we are moving through our days, how we are living our lives, through our values, and of course also being aware of how we're consciously working with these energies. So yes, it's very possible that there can be some big health issues coming up in April. That may or may not mean more lockdowns or quarantines. I know that it is different in various countries and different places around the world. But at the same time, we can focus our collective consciousness on new solutions, new ways of experiencing our reality without being overcome by fear or anything that seems too big to handle. So April will be an important month for being aware of how you work with Pisces energy, because that's how you're going to feel it the most. This could be a month when you're ready for a vacation. You're ready to take time off. You're ready to do something enjoyable because that Pisces energy wants you to have a break, wants you to get away from your reality and do something you enjoy. Perhaps you're going to even feel that it's easier to do so. And perhaps you've already established how to move through these energies, how you're working with what is happening at a global level and how you are personally managing it and taking care of yourself, your family, your loved ones, so that you can still maintain a good quality of life while supporting your body and your immune system at this time. Now, later on in October of 2022, we're going to see Saturn in Aquarius retrograde make another square to Uranus in Taurus retrograde at 18 degrees. This is going to be a fast-moving square because it's not exact. Even though they're both at 18 degrees, that's still a square, but they're not at the same minutes. So I'm being technical here, but it's important to note that this will be happening the beginning of October, and both planets are retrograde. So both planets are reviewing and checking in with what was experienced in 2021. Now, because it's at 18 degrees, it's a different degree point and it opens up new energies. So there could be something that comes up in October that relates directly to your experiences of 2021, but perhaps there's something you're understanding in a new way. You could feel that revisitation of a tension or a pressure, but because the planets are at a new degree point, there could be something you've learned and now you're understanding it from a different consciousness or a different energy. This energy is also relating to what we're learning through the North Node in Taurus, where that North Node in Taurus is showing us how to stabilize ourselves, to return to what we want, what we need, what we value, to make sure that we're aware of what is essential in our lives, and to open up more energies that are grounding and stabilizing, which can be difficult to do when we have very big energies in play. But what we're learning is that we are still powerful and able to maintain all of our energy regardless of what's happening outside of us, and also to feel solid within ourselves without needing too much external validation or support. That Taurus energy is about self-reliance, how you build a life or follow something because it's something you really want, it has meaning to you, it's important to you. With Uranus in Taurus, we are also deeply questioning what those priorities are. And basically perhaps throwing things out, maybe having some big lifestyle changes, maybe clearing out things that you no longer want, you no longer need, you no longer care about. The Uranus in Taurus energy is showing us where we're ready to break free. We're ready to take a risk and move outside a comfort zone, that you can still be safe, secure, and in your power when you're doing something new, when you're taking a risk, when you're embarking on something wildly different that you haven't experienced before. So we're learning how to travel with that. We're learning how to travel with safety and security within ourselves during these very big revolutionary times. And I feel like that is important to remember because it could be easy to be overwhelmed by everything that's going on. It could be easy to lose sight of what you want and what you value. But the universe is reminding you that you are a powerful creator. What do you choose? What do you need? And be sure to make those priorities known to yourself. Because the truth is, no one else is going to do it for you. That's our own responsibility. That's our own work, is to have clarity on how you want to live a good life and where you're ready to try something new, where you're ready to break out, break free, and experience perhaps a new version of life than what you've known before. And these are going to be ongoing themes into 2023 because of the eclipses. So I'm not covering eclipses here in this podcast, but I do cover it in the 2022 Soul Growth Astrology program, where there's a whole webinar on the eclipses, the energies, and what is unfolding in 2022. So I realize you could be listening to these energies and various themes could come up for you or be triggered. But I think it's important to also look at how adaptable we have been over the past 2 years especially, where all of us have experienced things that we never thought we would live through. And we've had parts of our lives permanently changed. We've had things fall apart and leave our lives. We've had things come in. Maybe they've been surprises or shocks. We've had things that have changed. And every time we've moved through these energies, we have adapted. We have stepped up. We are made for this. We are made to continue to be rolling with these energies and moving through them to see how strong we are, how capable, how we can make the right choices for ourselves, even when there is chaos and there's a lot of confusion. There is, of course, a lot happening around information and stimuli. There's so many different things out there that can cause confusion around what to believe, what to think, what is truth. All of these things can be a lot, but keep in mind that you've always found a way to make it through every day, to take it one day at a time. And you could see this as part of a refinement, refining your life, getting rid of what isn't connected to your energy, what isn't connected to your soul mission anymore. If it isn't good for you, it's got to go. And that's the universe basically reminding you that you're here to create what you want, and that these big evolutionary energies could be exactly what your soul signed up for, where you raised your hand and said, absolutely, I have to be there for this because I know that my soul can advance so much during this one lifetime, and it will be rocky and choppy at times, and I'll have to work through some very deep fears or some very big healing areas, but I'm going to move through them faster. I'm going to move through them faster than I would if the energies weren't as fast as they are on the planet right now. We've also had a very rare unifying experience where everyone on the planet has COVID stories, has an understanding of what lockdown quarantine energies have been for them, where we've each had to return to our own energy bubble. We've each had to sit in our energy to really feel it, to really know it, to get a sense of who we are, and then to make appropriate life changes that put you in better alignment with what you want and where you want to go next. So you can use these energies in a very intentional way, and you can declare, everything is supporting me now. Everything is revealing to me exactly what I need to know, exactly what I'm ready for. Everything in my life is right on time as we move through these big energies collectively, as we experience these very rare, powerful energies together, and you can then harness the power of them to support exactly what you want and what you need in this lifetime. And that means you could go farther in this lifetime than in previous lifetimes. You can use this to your advantage. You can choose to work with these revolutionary energies in a way that show you more of who you are, that show you more of your gifts, your talents, your abilities. That is absolutely something you can declare and claim. And in fact, it feels like it's really needed right now. It's needed that there are people at higher frequencies who are above the fray, who are riding these waves, so to speak, and who are aware of how they can work with them so that you're not overwhelmed by them as often or as much as those who are in different levels of consciousness. Because we always have choice, and that choice can be in our intentions and where we're choosing to direct our focus and direct our energies. Now, as I said at the start of the show, these are big energies, and I'm only touching on some of the broader strokes here, as there are many themes that can show up and many ways these energies can play out. But something else to keep in mind is that astrology reminds us that things are right on time. This is right on time. This is what needs to happen. This is the next step. We're leveling up. It could be messy and difficult and complicated at times, but then we rise to the occasion. And getting back to the Pluto and Capricorn energies, Capricorn is about maturity. It's about really taking a good hard look at the world, at what is, being realistic, working with what we've got, understanding how to be strategic, as well as how to move through a process. So it's requiring us to be spiritual adults. And that means sometimes we have to look at things and we can feel a disappointment. We can feel the burdens and the challenges. We can feel the hardships of life. And there is a certain world perspective that comes with Capricorn energies. But one of the ways to honor it is to look at what you can practically do. What are solid next steps, as well as a long-term plan. So if this isn't where you want to be today, right now, this year, the Capricorn energy is about looking at, well, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 8 years? And this could be a good time to give yourself that type of plan so that you at least feel in control of where you're headed or where you're going if you're not there right now, or even feeling connected to what is happening at this time. Another part of being a spiritual adult in these Capricorn energies is that you're not here to be coddled. You're not an infant. You're not a child. You're not a teenager. You're able to accept what is, work with it, understand the timing of things as well, and understand that when we put in the energy, effort, and work towards what we want, Capricorn also brings about those developments and those manifestations. So you as a soul chose to be here in a physical body on the earth, on this planet, at this time, in this timeline, to experience these energies, but also to move the energy forward, to raise it up, to do so for your own individual experience, but then also to contribute to the collective experience of where humanity can go next. But there's things that have to end. There's permanent endings here. And you can associate that with the cycle of life, the cycle of rebirth, the cycle of transformation. All of that is very strong, and that is what we're moving through in 2022. So is it similar to 2020? Yes and no. Just to be clear, yes and no, because we are continuing through the energies that first started in 2020, but now they're going to both a deeper and higher level with more intensity, more changes, more endings. But this is also the age of Aquarius that we're moving through and entering. And that means we're opening up to more of our individual sovereignty. We're opening up to a bigger collective energy field and new potentials that we have not had access to before. So there are new solutions, opportunities, and directions forward that we're going to connect with when the time is right. And that's part of what we need to trust and believe in as well. I also think it's important to consciously focus on how Pluto can be wonderful for exactly what we want to experience next. That Pluto is going to support us in a very deep transformation and can then lead us to a new experience on this planet. And it really is that big, which I hope feels motivating and reminds you of what we can create here together. So the soul adventure continues on, and the higher you can go in your perspective, perhaps the better you'll feel, maybe even the safer you'll feel in terms of connecting with your own soul's essence and guidance and seeing the bigger picture of it all as we continue through these very big energies. So as always, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to connecting with you as we move through 2022 together. You can find out more about me over at mollymccord.online, where I have all of my astrological programs and courses, as well as business development courses for those of you who are following your own energy, perhaps embarking on a new path, especially as an entrepreneur or doing an online business. I'll be back here every Wednesday and Monday for a new podcast episode. And please check out my YouTube channel where I have a playlist specifically discussing the energies of the USA Astrological chart, as well as new videos for you every Friday. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to journeying with you in the days ahead, and I'll see you back here really soon.